maybe from the side of Weibo. I still need to see a little bit more from the likes of particularly Scout and maybe Weiwei on the other side for LNG, but they have had good form into the draft. Standard draft, no more Fearless. Well, LNG on the blue side.
No, of course, Weibo got Daney on their coaching roster as well. A coach who has at points been praised and at points been a little maligned for decision-making process, been on some very successful teams and some teams that should have been successful and maybe haven't made it work. This time around, we're seeing the improvement. We'll see whether he can stick around here as the draft comes on through, and a very quick first pick of the Rumble. Wasn't banned when we know how strong that champion can be.
And we said Weibo love to play through topside. Basically, nothing beats Rumble in a 1v1 right now. You're probably now looking at Breathe, wanting to lane swap away from this, because typically you see Cassante locked into the Rumble to then just survive the lane and just try and get through things. Can't even do that. I wonder whether Weibo wants to be locking in. You could lock Twisted Fate, try and go carry for carry. It's hard either way. Weibo, they have some difficult questions to answer now.
Interesting as well that they banned the Renekton themselves, considering Breed is one of the few with the Renekton pass, so to speak. They'll lock in an early Ziggs as well. Understandable considering how good Gala is at that champion. They wanted to make sure they get some AD somewhere. Sorry, some AD, some AP somewhere. And now between the Tristana and the Ziggs, their ability to demolish a turret, if they're given any free time, should scare LNG.
And Weiwei, so Sejuani did so much good work for Weibo in the last year when he was on that roster. However, the Tristana Ziggs was LNG's combination last year, so both of these teams looking across the rift with some players who have changed colors of their jerseys playing for the other team, and we're seeing a lot of those kind of iconic picks on both sides of the rift kind of switching hands. You've got the really good winning matchup topside for Zucker. Breathe needs to find something to survive into the Rumble. It's going to be really hard for him to do that, and he's actually leaving his top lane pick through to the second round of bans. That might even make things even worse if LNG think they can ban away the few remaining champions they're afraid of against the Rumble.
Crisp on Rel has been pretty good at roaming and finding the engages. The laning, I think, has been a little lackluster this year in general. There was some rumours that maybe there would be a consideration about switching him out, and that was a discussion that was being had by various analysts and stuff, and considering just the level of form hasn't been that clean from Crisp, despite his pedigree as a world champion himself of many years past now. I suppose 5 years or so since Crisp was on the roster with FBX that won Worlds way back when. But still, Rel looking to do some damage here, try and catch some people out. Kai'Sa banned away from Gala, understandable. I think he probably is the pentakill leader on that champion still. Number of very high profile multi-kills for him. Rakan as well away from Hung. And on the other side, TF, ban away from Breathe, who has been favouring that option and might be able to deal with the Rumble with a little assistance. Wonder whether the Aatrox Hover might be banned here by LNG as well.
You could also ban out Kennen.
Yeah.
Kennen could also be a decent matchup into that Rumble. And there it goes. So now you're really left with just, well, you gotta just survive top lane somehow, and it's gonna be really hard to do so. Rumble doesn't have good answers in the best of times. You have things which can survive, but even then, that feels like it is a really slim situation up now. So Breathe, he's going to need to really prove his quality. He's going to have to really prove his value here. He is against the strongest top lane individual matchup in the meta right now. He needs to find something to answer this top lane. He's waiting, umming and ahhing. They're going to leave his pick until last pick. It's the Kha'Zix locked in for Tarzan. So he wants to really take it to Weiwei in the individual matchup.
Fun hover here from Gala, but we'll wait on that one. I say it's just a hover. We have seen Twitch a little from Abel last split, but this split it's kind of just disappeared again, so we'll wait and see. I think the air draw makes a lot more sense considering the composition. We'll see what they want to round everything out with. They've got to consider realistically support. They'll go towards the Poppy, which can be pretty good considering you've got multiple dashes here and a lot of jumps that would otherwise be a bit frustrating to manage.
You can deny the Satchel, you can deny the Crash Down from Crisp as well. Lots of things that you can work with there. So the Poppy support, maybe learning a little bit from G2 Esports, learning a bit from Mickey X, who played that one and beat Top Esports with that one back at MSI, maybe leaving its scars a little bit still across the LPL. And on the other side, Weibo, waiting for an answer in the top lane. And again, we see something which G2 weirdly have played on the other side. It's the Mundo top lane for Breathe. This has been briefly creeping back into the meta. If you get ahead of the Rumble, you can just run at him.
And I think as well, you will eventually hit the point where the Rumble will overheat and realize, oh no, I've only gotten half of your HP. This is going to be a problem in the extended play. And of course, Rumble should still be fine early on. It can certainly be really obnoxious in nearly any match if you care to mention.
In terms of major regions, the only player to play the Mundo has been Broken Blade. Breathe. Okay, so we have the Poppy support on one side. learn from Mickey X. We have the Mundo on the other side, learn from Broken Blade, potentially picking up some inspiration from that. And we were wondering what the hell's going to happen with that Rumble matchup in the top side. The Mundo, if this works, might just have to be added to the champion pool.
And this could be a big deal because there has been a question being raised about how the hell you deal with Rumble. Sometimes you can just gank it and take it out of a game, but it does feel like inevitably the Rumble comes away with a significant lead. The Mundo is an answer on one side, you've got the Poppy to try and deal with the dashes on the other. And two very considered drafts from both teams, trying to find angles of attack into champions and archetypes that might otherwise be very difficult to manage.
So, first game between LNG and Weibo, two teams which people had a lot of questions of, and then their first series put a lot of those questions into doubt themselves. Both these teams will only play each other once in a single round robin best of 3 up here in the Ascension group as we fight for playoffs spots here at the top of the LPL. Both these teams look better than they did in that group stage. Can they keep up that level of form? Can they go beyond it and put themselves into real Worlds contending spots?
Gyos continue to ring out, and it is always cool to hear those strident voices and the support for the teams. So passionate here about their various organizations. Nothing quite like it in the world, really is. Breathe in the appropriate pink chroma. It feels like I see every top laner on the pink chroma on that skin. The pink car as he drives around once he hits a certain speed total is really funny.
I think it's just really funny, like, just being, if you get a solo kill or someone who's just, like, so visibly pink like that, it's just, like, bright colors, like, I am not hiding, you have just died to bubblegum.
Yeah.
I always used to play the pink ninja, like, bubblegum, the Zed skin. I always used to enjoy that one, because it just feels like it adds insult to injury. They're not in camo or anything, they are literally just there, so... Anyway, Breathe, in that Mundo matchup, we said that on here at least, the mainstream was focusing on bot lane. We were focusing on top lane. Breathe versus Zucker, they have themselves a great matchup there. Of course, bot side too, when you have Hung on the Poppy support. Something a bit different from him. He hasn't really been someone to play something as lane dominant like this before, and Poppy does try to be so against this kind of composition, against this kind of 2v2. Need to see how that works out as well.
Well, that'll be a decision to be sure. And Light taking a leaf out of Gala's book as well, who... alongside the Kai'Sa has probably been most stellar on the Ziggs. Trying to take that option away. We'll need to be doing some good work here, because you look at Weibo Gaming, they've got great siege, and they've got good pick with, of course, the Rel and the Kha'Zix. I was going to call it Kalista, that's the wrong K champion. And you can potentially catch out someone if they're isolated, but if it does come to the 5v5s, I feel like Sejuani, Poppy, double AD carry plus Rumble ult feels pretty good for LNG.
LNG took a game off of top esports playing this style too, where you have the Sejuani Rumble to lock someone down, you have good long-range carries to follow up. That was how they beat who we think are the best team in our league right now. So the fact that LNG could take that game, and they're playing towards this style again, and they will also get to play this style again multiple times in a series if they want to. Zucker has the overheat, has to flash away, just breathe!
And here comes Tarzan trying to turn it around! Will surely be a 1-for-1, but the first blood is already there.
Tarzan doesn't have to blow the flash. It's still Cannon Minion dying to tower. Wave lost at least in partial amounts to that tower. Breathe blows both the summoners in that teleport and the flash. Will be able to at least get this second wave which crashes in from under that turret. Zucker dying, maybe throwing his lane state into a bit of a strange situation. Might have lost a little bit more when he accounted for, but still comes out with the winning trade, I think.
Of course, has the ignite, so no teleport here, but goes for the all-in.
Yeah, I mean, he realizes, oh, that's a lot of damage, and this Mundo, who is meant to be a counter pick into the Rumble, at least how they picked it in the draft, goes down for that first blood. At least it's returned for the assist gold over to Breathe, but that's a worry. Breathe picked this champion, and we talked about how important Breathe winning lane has been for LNG.
Of course, full note, of course, did go for the ignite. Understandable into the Mundo matchup. You really want to be having those grievous wounds into a champion that is all about the sustained healing with that ultimate in particular. But jump now onto Weiwei, who will throw out the flail. Has the aftershock timed out, and Tarzan here to shield Breathe as he tries to get this wave shoved in.
Wave in this top side. We did say, okay, what was going to happen with the Rumble wave state. The fact that he's managed to free this outside of top turret with Breathe having no flash now is a problem. Weiwei, just seeing what he can do around this side. Not able to really influence this top lane right now. does feel like LNG managed to get something really good going on that top side. Zucker has been the unsung hero for LNG in so many ways. Even when LNG was struggling in spring, it felt like Zucker was bringing really good value over to his team as Weibo. On the other side, that used to be Light for them, actually. Light has maybe taken a bit of a step back on that front. I feel like he's less of the... Because what used to happen for Weibo was... they would have a lot of tee-hee funny early games where they'd give up 3-4 kills randomly, and then they'd ask Light to carry them in the late game. And honestly, most of the time he would. So the fact that he's not had to do that is kind of nice, but the fact that he hasn't really been doing it at the same time, I wonder whether Light can also have a step up in this series, especially on something like the Ziggs, which has been so powerful for so many players in the LPL.
Yeah, and of course, on the other side, Zucker had an unusual spring, I think it's fair to say. Reed, it wasn't that great, guys. The summer has been stepping up again, I think, especially compared to, say, last year, where he was actually at a pretty solid level, going into Worlds in particular, and then maybe didn't have the international showing I think he was hoping for, but still, now on the Rumble, gets that solo kill. It does come at a little bit of a cost, but still doing exactly what was asked of him in a matchup like this.
Okay, so what else is happening on the map right now? Weibo got themselves some good defensive vision in topside, means that Breathe can at least survive, and he's in fact slightly ahead in CS there right now. Goes back for a giant spell, of course, with Mondo having such good HP scalings, that can very much help in regards to his own play as well. So, Weibo, what else is this next big play? Haven't really seen anything.
Flash from Gala, forced after Crisp finds the all-in. Big chunk onto him, and not wallbang into the wall. Doesn't get that much value onto Crisp afterwards, so Gala getting punished while his support is down warding.
Yeah, so that's something away. Flashing forward from Chris maybe a bit much. We haven't really seen much focus onto the objectives because it feels like the junglers wanted to impact the lanes a little more. Tarzan steals the first one though, and he does use the smite for it. Wait, also smited though, so it does mean that potentially this could come down to a contest for the last one.
That's 1 for 1. Tarzan says, yeah, I can't stick around, especially with the Rumble and the Corki both roaming at the same time.
One of the big problems for Karzik's taking grubs is that all of the little mites, and we're having 3 of them, means that he can't get isolation on
right, yeah.
So he doesn't get himself the really big execute and the big damage from that Q through onto them. Still, getting 1 away against the grunt of play, because Weiwei did have, you know, solo lanes and in the range to kind of respond to him. That's good from him. Dragon yet to be started on the other side, as we said, though. Again, the objective's a little bit slower because of the focus on the lanes.
The gold dead even. Objectives even enough. There'll be a start on the Dragon briefly by Xiaohu. I don't know whether they'll want to stick around on it. I think especially with Hung and Gala quickly moving into the river. Decide against that initially. Karzix is pathing down this way, but looks like he wants to at least claim his blue buff before considering it.
Yeah, Tarzan close to level 6 as well.
Yeah,
he's probably going to go towards that Q evolve, and at that point, if you're ever isolated, oh boy, you're going to get ran down at that point. Wait, also close to that level 6 too, but he's looking to just again help his bot lane. If there's a fight though, he's given up the XP for this, and he's caught on the recall.
Wait, that's a bad spot in a dangerous position as he's satchel charged the wrong way. Light taken very low, but surely fall. Hung body blocking best he can. Light also very low, despite the catch, the turnaround damage to choose. But look who else is here! It's Xiaohu, flash out for the Mega Inferno Bomb. Will not quite get the kill for Gala. Still surely falls.
Xiaohu gets involved. He has flash, he has Buster Shot. He can maybe get another 2 kills here. If he flashes for a Buster Shot, he can kill.
Flash, Buster Shot, gets 1, gets the reset on the W, but the steadfast presence prevents the easy hop on in.
Oh, Xiaohu, we've seen this before. He's had a weak year, honestly. But on this Tristana, if he gets involved early, he starts turning up to play. 2 kills for the Emperor of the mid lane. Xiaohu gets himself onto the board nice and early, and Scout has to just wait and just watch his opposing number take over the bot side.
It looked really dicey there for a second. Weiwei got caught, yes, but the turnaround damage was huge. It's just Xiao who makes a difference.
The recall on the ward is... It's a sad situation there from Weiwei. He's trying to help his bot lane crash in. I think Gala has a great jump in to try and get some damage back, but then you kind of forget that the mid lane has priority from Weibo. Xiaohu wanders down very early, gets himself onto the board. Gala gets caught out, but honestly, the mistake was made by Weiwei from overstaying in that tri-brush.
And Flash for the Buster Shot gets 1. Tries to rocket jump for something more, but Hung is quick enough with that steadfast presence. The problem is, in many ways, the damage is already done.
So, Xiaohu now has himself decent gold lead, 300 gold in that mid lane. Yes, it was kind of evened up by the fact that Scout gets himself a wave into turret, and I think he gets himself a plate from that too, so it's Scout getting something from it. We were saying that, you know, we were wondering what form the mid laners would be on between Xiaohu and Scout. Xiaohu turning up early in this game, that's a good sign. Scout, he now needs to respond somehow. You cannot have one of these mid laners turning up and the other one not being that. We're going forwards.
Crisp's in danger. The Equalizer does a lot of damage. There's just nowhere to go. The Permafrost comes on in, and the punish on the invade is swift.
It is, and we can see how powerful that Rumble is with a follow-up. Scout going forwards, trying to get something, get some more damage onto Tarzan. So they get themselves one kill. They get themselves kind of a good kind of dissuasion play onto Weibo from their own jungle, saying, okay, get out of my jungle. Maybe that helps them set up for the second round of Grubs. If they can get themselves topside control for the next Grubs, then they've already shifted Gala up towards that top side. Maybe that can help them in regards to that.
I don't think they were expecting the Rumble to be there because the lane swap had come on through. They're expecting to go match the Mundo. Instead, he's there. Will cost him a plate and a bit of a wave, but still gets the kill nonetheless.
So this was, what they were showing there was the last time that Breathe played Mundo. We have seen Mundo in the jungle from Hung. That might also be the last time it was played in top lane. I can't remember the last time it was played in top lane.
It's been a while.
I'll be in fairness, it's been a long time, but we did see it also on Team WE from Hung playing that one. It's been vaguely around, but it has been niche, to say the least. Not having the best time right now, but hey, we'll catch up with that later. Building up towards that Warmog's first item, so we can shrug off that Rumble and the amount of poke he can get on waves.
Worth noting, Breathe has teleport. Zucker with the Ignite can't join the potential Grub fight should Breathe decide to pull that teleport. Grubs have spawned here, and it looks like Tarzan will want to join up with Xiaohu to start these up.
Yeah, I think Weibo, as long as they know that Rumble isn't going to be at the fight, are very happy. Yeah, Sejuani Gold can fly at them, but they also have the powerful Tristana. The Rumble's not coming to play. One of the Grubs has already gone down. Weibo's making his way over. He's on control wards. Might be able to catch someone, but again, they don't have the Rumble.
Here we go, gets the Sejuani ult onto Xiaohu's a lot of damage back though, onto Scout. Xiaohu dies to the True Shot Barrage. Damage back is looking pretty good, but Tarzan just so low. Mega Inferno Bomb comes in, but it's a bit late, and now Breathe is here, but that teleport is already too late. Everyone is dead.
Weibo thinks they're safe because the Rumble isn't at the play, but it's Xiaohu who gets caught. I really think someone should have just buffered for him, or he bloody block for him, or he should have buffered out of that one. The fact that the Fed Tristana goes down first means that LNG walk away with the fight, and it goes back to an even game. 3 Grubs apiece, kills about even as well, and some gold leads to match on either side.
Let's have a look at this one, because Xiaohu getting caught is so bad here.
Yeah, he's on a control ward. You can see that Chris doesn't quite understand that Weibo's there. I mean, the whole team just doesn't understand that Weibo's in that brush. And Xiaohu, he can't immediately jump out because of the Poppy W. That's why he can't buffer out even at that state. And yeah, Breed's teleport late also means they lose out something on bot side too.
I think if Breathe had teleported immediately, maybe they could have got something more out of that, but it doesn't work. Loses another wave, closes a couple plates. That one gets a bit dicey. Tarzan should still claim this dragon here, though. And again, 2-1-1 has the Eclipse. Is still doing well on this Kha'Zix. But once it comes to team fights, will get trickier. As some of these members get tankier and tankier, especially if you can't guarantee isolated damage. Your ultimate will help. The Void Assault is pretty good for allowing you to get isolated damage in team fights. But I do wonder whether he will be forced into upgrading that at some point this game to make those team fights a little easier.
So, back to an even state. Did feel like Weibo with those that early Grub steal and getting some, you know, decent gold onto Xiaohu. That could have been a game-breaking moment. It hasn't ended up being that. I have to say, I'm liking the fact that both Xiaohu and Scout are getting involved. Scout gets involved in that one. Weiwei gets himself into the important point in that fight to really good engage onto Xiaohu from him. Zucker winning his lane. We're getting to the point where it's not where the misplays are really determining this game. It is players being on form, having good laning phases. And because we're now in an even game, we get to see who our heroes will be in this game. Both of these teams have been on the downswing in summer. Who is going to be the one to kind of arrest that momentum?
Ooh, Tarzan finds Weiwei, but again at this point with the steel caps in particular, that isn't as much damage as it might have been earlier on in the game. Flash on him for the heroic charge. The steadfast presence afterwards. Tarzan gets over the wall and just about stays alive. Mega Inferno Bomb comes on down. I think LNG have just gone too deep. Mega Inferno Bomb is there, but look who else is here. Scout, flash on forward for Gala, lands a Q, cannot land another. The body blocks from Light keep everyone alive.
Xiaohu is on the bot side of that fight too. He might still be able to jump in. He's going to stop the Hex Splash. No, not quite. Hung eats up that Buster Shot and will live live to tell the tale. I thought that maybe LNG had gone too deep, then I thought that Weibo had gone too deep, and somehow no one dies. Zucker picks up a plate on that top side. That will continue to be an issue for Weibo. This Rumble is very much off the ground at this point, but you can see how close these skirmishes are getting.
Gala as well there, nearly getting the kill, but has burned the flash. It was LNG who ended up burning more summoners for that, so we'll see whether that comes back to bite them. 3 minutes until another dragon might be where those end up becoming a little more valuable, or maybe the Herald that has just spawned now, but will be Xiaohu gets a bit of a shove into this bot lane turret, gets a bomb, but only a auto or 2 on top of it.
And so we get ourselves into this Herald now. Objective-based gameplay, of course, been very important for all this. The Herald might be able to blow open one of these turrets, and LNG really need to stop the Tristana and the Ziggs from getting access to. That's the fact they're getting this. Very important. The fact that they also get to just force Breathe away from turrets and start opening up this map. Very, very important too. If they get this Herald, get themselves side lanes open, and then also get that Herald onto mid lane potentially, I think LNG, they'll be very happy with how they can play out that mid game. I think LNG have been very, very good. Even in this summer against top esports, they had a 6-for-1 tower trade or something like that in the group stage victory they had in game 1 of the second round robin versus them. They've been very good at tower-based gameplay. That has been their forte so far. And even last year when they had Tarzan on their roster with Scout, that was one of the better things they could work towards.
Breathe taken very low, flashes immediately and has to pop the ult as well. Will be able to get away with some maximum dose, but that's the ignite down and the flash on the other side. Big win for Zucker.
Yeah, what were we saying? Breathe, great laner in his own right, but Zucker has been such a stalwart for LNG. He's got himself a good matchup there. He does need to get that anti-heal. It wouldn't surprise me to see if he goes towards the Oblivion Orb next, just to say, right, I don't always have the ignite. Let's make sure we can take this through to deny some of that Warmogs. And of course, the ultimate coming through from... Is it the maximum dosage?
It's maximum dosage, well, it used to be sadomasochism, but they've changed that name for no particular reason.
No. It was sadism and masochism, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. Because you had one of them which was the sadism, one of them was the masochism. So then both together ended up being that. But it was really weird. On the whole thing, though. Either way, it stops Mundo healing. LNG, tower-based gameplay again. Scout getting the side lane goal. And LNG opening up the map. They still have a Herald to use, rather.
Alright, well, the Herald summoned in mid lane, looking to try and get a charge on here. Flash away from Light to avoid the Glacial Prison. This time we'll get out of jail free. Scout, Valkyrie's over the wall, but does get hit by the Bonesaw regardless. Maybe forced to flash here as Breathe, pretty quick, and has to flash the second briefcase. Now Hung potentially in a dangerous position, looking for the Keeper's verdict.
Oh, he's only got a Hex Flash. He needs to charge. They're not going to let him.
He's in so much danger. Xiaohu now behind everybody could prove to be really scary here. Xiaohu?
Yeah, he's teleported in. I don't really know if he knows what he's doing yet.
Oh,
he spots out Weiwei. He's going to jump in.
Boy, it gets really ugly. Scout's still here, though. What on earth am I witnessing? Weiwei can't get over the wall because he's body blocked, and Tarzan gets that one too.
You know what? It has been a while since we've seen one of the Xiaohu. What the heck was that place? Back when he was winning MSIs, he'd come out of the fog of war with these really weird teleports. This time it works out, and I have to say, I'm enjoying seeing him back on the table like that. Xiaohu, he's had a pretty downturn year for himself. The fact that he can make plays like this, very important. LNG, though, make no mistake, they're playing very well around the towers. If they get this mid lane out of tower, things change very much into their favor as well. Need to see Weibo defend that.
Poppy back on the rift, immediately towards his bot side river. Weibo didn't manage to get the dragon after getting those kills. So we are still in a position where that's up to play for Asgala. Aggressively positioning in this lane to make sure that Light can't get a shove on out. Down about 10% HP. Zucker roamed down here as well. Breathe does have the teleport, but may look to try and get that top lane tier 1 while it's all happening.
Again, this mid lane outer turret is so important from LNG. If they can get that, then it means it's much easier to go into the enemy jungle and start making some big plays. Weiwei will try to take that. Actually, he does have a blue buff underneath him. Did he actually end up getting that? I think I missed that one.
I think he didn't get it. I think Tarzan has it.
Okay. Right, so LNG, they are going to get themselves that dragon. They do lose themselves that top lane outer turret. So once again, we're getting ourselves very even trades. 2 towers for 2 towers. Side lanes open. Zucker almost has that ignite, as you're rightfully saying. Zucker, he's going towards that second mass for the Rift Maker for continued damage over time. Breathe, I think Breathe's overstayed.
See how it plays. I wonder whether Weibo want to come and play this. Going to have the maximum dosage available, but it's just nowhere to heal through. It's just too much. And despite Tarzan and Chris both being in the area, they don't really want to come and play this one for now. Flash on forward for the Winter's Flail. Tarzan now in a dangerous position himself. Does have the upgraded W, so Gets to slow everyone down there with the Void Spikes.
Yeah, but does that leave them out of position to lose to defend mid lane? Gala's been doing really well at getting some poke down, pushing in the wave as best he can. I think Light will have the cooldowns to make sure this can go through as a full wave clear, and indeed it will, but LNG go into the enemy jungle at least to get something away. This battle over mid lane turret is probably where most of this next bit of the game is going to be playing towards. We're also now getting to the point where second items are going to get through. Light's going to get more cooldown reduction, which means more ability to throw those Qs at the wave, and of course just extra damage too from the Andres. And it does feel like LNG getting onto second item for this Rumble is going to be a real pain. The Mundo was meant to be an answer into the Rumble. It has just about survived in some cases, but that's about as good as it's gotten.
Have a look at this now, as there's the replay. You can see there's actually 3 members of Weibo trying to come over here and help this one out, but Breathe overshoves trying to get into the wave, and Zucker just finds an angle on in. There's no real way for him to get involved as the rest of LNG get behind the lines and prevent any support coming towards the Mundo.
Yeah, that Mundo needs to start getting that Heartsteel value now as well. Got that second item, but it's all HP. It is no magic resist, which is a big problem.
That's a magic mantle, that counts.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know, like a doily instead of like a tea towel. Like, you sat there, it's like, it's nice, it's pretty. It does nothing. It looks pretty and that's it. It's there for presentation and that's it. Okay.
My doily presentation, the null magic mantle. Imagine if you're so rich you can have magical doilies.
What would they do, magical doilies?
I don't know. What does a doily do normally?
Look nice, I guess.
I know, right?
You put teacups on it, I guess, if you're
maybe
so
it makes your
inclined.
teacup float to your mouth. You know, not even needing to use your hands.
The ultimate and lazy gameplay, I can get behind that one. So, a very even game again, within 500 gold. Side lanes open up in very even ways, and you know, typically when LNG play the game, they love to get that side lane goal into Scout. The fact that it has been matched on the other side by Xiaohu does mean that it's not necessarily Scout ahead of the game. Gala gets out for free right now, and that's a good disengage ult.
Isolation Prison was required, but the slow comes on through again. Weiwei, though, of course, with the Ice Armor, not going to be able to be slowed. Xiaohu taken very low there as the burn comes on through. Might see the ult come through from Hung, but we'll just leave it as a wind-up. Scout now looking to potentially go on forwards. Misses the Foss Bomb. So that means everyone backs away for now.
Just about once again, no one dies. I really like how both these teams are playing through, one, their quick picks, but when they've been disengaged well from, the retreats have also been fairly orderly as well. What we see from other teams is typically them over-engaging, then just be stuck in the play. We saw that a lot in our first series of the day. It feels like between these two teams, they've really managed to do well here. Hung can wall slam, but he has his passive, which makes him immovable at first.
Gets knocked up now, flashes away. They're not going to go any further. The Mundo down that summoner spell.
So Mundo, once again, being dunked on in that side lane. Got to 2 items is going to be a bit of a threat at some point, but really need to see Breathe figure out what he wants to be doing with this pick. Zucker on this Rumble has made him much less valuable than he could have been. You can see that Light at least able to keep that mid lane turret open and up and available really for Weibo. If that mid lane turret goes down, I think the game changes an awful lot. And then when that question about can Breathe get to that point of usefulness becomes harder, because it's harder to defend him on a side lane when the mid turret's already down.
It's worth saying Scout teleported to get into that last contest when they were trying to find that pick onto Gala from the side of Weibo Gaming. But there is no teleport on Zucker. Scout has used this. Still a while on Gala having a TP, so the fact you both got Breathe and Xiaohu with those teleport options means actually LNG going to potentially have to bait around this Baron to control those side lanes, because they're not going to be able to split up the map as freely as they might otherwise have liked.
And splitting up that map has been the name of the game so far. It has all been about this sideline turrets. That is a Hexgate. Hung, is he caught out, or is Tarzan?
That's a huge amount of damage. He took that Hexgate. It was a complete mistake.
Tarzan's the one that gets caught out. LNG ready and waiting. What have Weibo got left?
Scout Valkyrie's on him. They lose Xiaohu as well, and Baron has spawned. You've lost your jungle and mid lane.
Just as Baron is available as well. It's been a couple of minutes. It's been waiting there for the first opportunity. LNG get a great couple of picks. Weibo, I don't think they got the damage left. Light has an ultimate. Is that enough?
Zucker looking for an angle here with the Equalizer as well. Light might have to try and throw out a big Mega Inferno Bomb. It's an early-ish smite here from Weiwei, trying to use both charges of it. Zucker taken pretty low. Continue to contest. The bombs keep flying on through. The Equalizer now comes on down. It is a 3v5. Nearly steals it away. Does not quite get it, does Light. And now Scout can hop on forward. Doesn't have that much mana though, so how much damage he can do might be a little limited. Breathe, body blocking for the Ziggs, who does some work. And Poppy just gets melted by Breathe with a Heartsteel proc, but the damage is already done. The whole team eventually dies. Baron secured on 4, and LNG break open the game after the worst Hex gate I have seen in some time.
Yeah, Tarzan, that's the kind of thing where you have to look at the Fog of War. You don't necessarily know why he took that, but what it means is, yeah, that Baron goes over. What's happening here in terms of that Fog of War? I'd love to see that. Tarzan uses the W to spot over the Baron, but what is this? What is this? You use that W to show that's not been started. Maybe he thinks, well, they're not on the Baron starting it. Maybe they're not on the same side of the map, but that just feels like a massive miscalculation.
It was a known quantity because there was a ward in that bush. They knew the Poppy was there. Yeah, so I'm assuming they're thinking, well, we've got to catch.
That's the thing. You know that one person's there. It's one of those things when in such a tight game, it really is about trying to like thread the needle in those kind of delicate plays. That's just a complete misjudgment though. And by him dying and then, of course, Xiao, who just afterwards, Weibo get put into the dirt. LNG with the Baron, who are already playing well around towers so far, should be able to break up in this game.
Run away afterwards. Credit to Breathe for blowing up Hug here. He's at half HP. You'd think that the Poppy wouldn't die, but Heartsteel is a hell of a thing. Let's get that empowered auto, I think, with a blunt force trauma on top of it all. But now this should be LNG's game to win.
I think it absolutely should be. And again, they have really good siege. You have some tank from the side of Weibo, and you can start wave clearing a little bit. Well, with the Ziggs, obviously, you have a huge amount of wave clear. But the problem is when you're dealing with the Ezreal, with the Equalizer on top of the Sejuani ult too, it's really hard to stand there and defend it. And with even just the 3 grubs, they're really destroying these towers.
Do some work here, of course. There comes the Glacial Prison into the Equalizer. Doesn't actually get that much value from either. The turret will still fall, but 2 of the ultimates now down mean the rest of the siege perhaps a touch more limited. Gold lead, though, does extend now up to about 6,000 as a result of the additional structures and kills taken.
Is he caught out? Does he have flash? Does he have his Q? Q gets out. Should be fine for him to survive at this point. Fairly tanky, even when he is isolated. And you see right there, Kha'Zix, not tanky. He's gone for the Sundered Sky Eclipse build. It's the more bruiser Kha'Zix. He's trying to use that evolved Q to burn down someone like that Sejuani on the side. It's not the Umbral Glaive Kha'Zix, which can be a bit of an issue. I think that the Umbral Glaive is mainly why you pick Kha'Zix on the whole. Not loving this Kha'Zix gameplay from Tarzan as it stands, and it gets much harder to play when you're behind and you're forced to team fight as instead of skirmish.
And it was a solid enough early game from Tarzan, right? Picked up a couple good kills, but as the mid game has rolled on, the game remained quite even. It was always going to be quite hard, and the Rumble hasn't really been managed that well. The Mundo will become problematic later on. And in fairness, farmed okay, but got caught out enough times. They're going to try and engage into the jungle here, but it's onto Crisp. Gala is there into Tarzan, who's in a 1v2. Will need to hop over the wall and does so. Breathe now coming on over. The Scryer's Bloom was there. Gala misses the initial Q. Misses the second one as well.
That'll save him.
And the Void Spikes
that'll save him.
I don't know whether it will. Zucker coming around. Is he trying to recall? He is Tarzan! What are you doing, mate? Gets the Eclipse shield, will burn out. You can't just sit there.
Well, I think the problem is that there are so many members on top side. It's like, well, I gotta find a way out of this somehow. And just doesn't find it. Demolish on mid lane from Breathe. Almost takes down the full turret. But Tarzan, for someone who's had such good form for Weibo, this has been a pretty disastrous mid to late game for him. Caught out multiple times, and the rest of the team scrambling to pick up the pieces, dying across the board.
Got himself a maximum dosage, lands some slow. Is still pretty tanky here. Trying to back away. Xiao Hu's backing out himself. I wonder whether they might teleport on this wave. Actually, I take that back. There's no option for that from either Xiao Hu or Light, so it's just going to be the 1v2, and Breathe just doesn't have enough of the tank, and Zucker was coming around the back end anyway, so nowhere to run for the Mundo.
It's very easy to judge Weibo for these plays, and to a point you should, because they're still bad plays in a way, but you are scrambling and you're panicking at this point. 5,000 gold power play. Another one, getting a 5k Baron power play, you see it from good teams, but even then they can struggle to get it around that point. Weibo have, after losing that Baron, they've had to try and make some of this smoke and mirrors play work, and we know that some of these players can make that happen. Of course, Breathe and Xiao Hu, they used to play together on RNG for one of the best teams that playing around that of all time. But it really does feel like Weibo, they've just started panic, and LNG have been calm and they've been collected when they've been presented opportunities in this game.
And I get why you're taking the risks, but they don't feel like they've been managed very well this game, and credit to LNG for punishing there. That pick onto Tarzan and then Xiao Hu just afterwards that led to the Baron, I think will be the point in this game which the coaches are going to glare at a few members from Weibo Gaming and ask what the hell the decision making was there.
Yeah, you know, I have to say, I would have loved that replay to have Fog of War on it, because I really feel like that could change our opinions and stuff.
Yeah,
but look, as it says, I'm trying to think of a reason why he would do that, because I'm like, why would you take that escape? Could have bluntly just been a misclick, but hey, sometimes that can happen. Right. Okay, so Weibo very much down, very much a threat of the Sejuani Rumble kind of combination. They're kind of okay, no, I'll take that back. They're a threat Full stop. They're a threat. There is very little they can do against so much damage. I think that Weiwei on the Sejuani is such a big, powerful person to lay people into that damage too. Weibo have to play smoke and mirrors, and that does mean they have to play risky plays like this, which occasionally get them caught.
10 seconds on Dragon. We'll note that Weibo did claim the Dragon after that last one. Tarzan, not that Hexgate again. This time is going to be just fine. But obviously, because they claimed the second Dragon, there is no soul point to be secured here by LNG, so there's at least some room to stall. Just don't know whether the late game it gets that much easier. The Mundo scales exceptionally well, do not get me wrong. And of course, things like Tristana, Ziggs, greater in the late game too. But it feels like compositionally, the team fights remain pretty easy in later stages of the game for LNG, just purely off how their composition functions.
Yeah, it's so easy for them to find those targets. That's the big thing. It's just so easy for them to find that target. And Weibo, I just don't know where the damage comes from at this point. Like, you have the Ziggs combo, but finding that combo onto the right target is really hard because...
You get 2 item Ziggs anyway.
And then you look at, like, the one thing which can pin people in place with the Ziggs combo is the Rel. If you're a single engaged team, it is really, really hard to get onto the right targets because they only have to wait for that Rel. It's really hard to play around that. The Baron's been spotted, and Weibo, that question will need to be answered. How do they get that damage onto the right targets?
And the Rel still has to complete an item that isn't named Boots or Support item, so it's not even a very tanky Rel either. Crisp, I don't think out fault for this game, but is asked to play a very unenviable role.
Yeah, this is kind of the game state where, so earlier in the day, we kind of said this about Invictus Gaming a bit when they were behind the game. It's like, sometimes when you're behind the game, you can't really judge them as a close 1v1, instead the Flicker Blade's getting that junk cooldown back. But really, when you're this far behind, it's kind of hard. Xiaohu caught out in the side lane.
I understand why the decision was made, but Weiwei is there. And we're thinking they might be setting up around the Baron because that was alive, but Weiwei says, yeah, there's no way you're doing that anyway, again, so I can be bot lane.
That's serious credit to LNG to look at Weibo and say, look, I know you're going to make these plays. We're not going to give you the easy ones. Now, LNG could have started the Baron, and if Xiaohu had started like really heavily 1v1ing a bot side, then Xiaohu might have had an option there. But because Weiwei just says, well, you can't take the Baron yourself, he goes down towards bot lane to make sure that play goes out, and they get themselves yes, it's a smaller win than getting the Baron, but it's a win by killing the side lane, and they lose nothing for it. Weibo continually falling again into really difficult play patterns. They're trying to play around Fog of War, they're trying to find these sneaky picks around the side of things, and it's getting very, very hard for them to keep playing around these objectives.
Tarzan is here, trying to make sure that he can be in place to contest these, and at least you have got the Mundo who continues to throw cleavers. Easy check there. Oh, the rest of LNG, and it is very dark out there right now. Really wishing they had a few wards to light up the paths that have become increasingly hard to keep vision of. Crisp, not in danger quite yet. The rest of LNG now moving in force to clear out the wards that their Weibo Gaming just put down.
See that way? Xiaohu's been gifted jungle farm at this point as well. I think they've realized, look, Tarzan, you have to forfeit a lot of your income now. You're Kha'Zix, who is behind in late game. Sorry, it's not getting easier for you. Xiaohu gets the side lane gold. He gets the jungle farm. If he can get towards big items later on, maybe that can change something. He's not going towards the Infinity Edge. Maybe that's a mistake, but he's going towards another Noon Quiver item, seeing if he can get himself into a point where he can be a threat on a side lane. He's still 1,000 gold behind the Corki, but if he can get something through that gold, it might be worthwhile.
Note as well that Light has at least now got the death cap as well, so the damage from the Ziggs is going to go up another significant notch. Level 16 secured as well, so the Mega Inferno Bomb at max rank can certainly chunk out a lot of the members of LNG who, particularly the backline, aren't that tanky.
Yeah, it's just, again, pinning them down. Like, they're not that tanky, but they're really slippery. It's the Ezreal, it's the Corki.
Not again.
Weiwei, he's, yeah, the thing is, Weibo been playing around Fog of War.
Wait,
LNG... LNG, I just sat there like, well, you're playing around Fog of War. We have even more Fog of War to play around. Xiaohu jumps into bot lane. He'll get the jump back through the Flicker Blades, clears out a wave. Xiaohu, he's one of the best players historically at playing this style of all time. You know, he's always played this Fog of War side lane pushing style. This is where he kind of made his name in so many of those international tournaments. It's been a while since we could talk about Xiaohu in regards to that. He's had a bad year ever since really Worlds last year. I feel like this last couple of series he's had, though, he started to come back online again. In this kind of game, this is the only real way where Weibo can win this game. He needs to try and find that form again.
I think the other thing is side laning at this level of competition is a team game. You need to have vision. You need to have information on where people are, or at least be able to intuit it. And that's a lot harder to do when teams are just better.
Yeah, and I think you can see LNG is starting to slow down maybe a little bit more than they would like to at this point. So they are still doing fine, but they're not starting that Baron. They're not forcing out Xiao, who's teleporting anyone else. They might be a little bit afraid of the Ziggs combo in the Baron pit with the Rel. That might be the one thing which they're afraid of, and I guess that Put it this way. The way they lose the game is by getting Baron stolen or a huge combo in the pit, which gets them killed, which allows Weibo to break back open the map. That's the way that they lose. So they're opting for a slow burn strategy instead. I'm getting quite worried now, though, because Ziggs and Tristana are online. Breathe is starting to get online as well. And though Tarzan will be less useful as the Kha'Zix, the carries will absolutely bring value to the team. LNG need to find a way to accelerate. They have been a team which have done better at that recently, but they still have that troubled history of being the turtle shell team.
And Lord Dominic's regards now completed for the Tristana as well. Level 18. This Tristana is really online. They can afford to give up Soul here as well, I think. Or no, Soul Point here, can Weibo as well. Tarzan, that same Hexgate, just scaring me every time. Xiaohu, though, with those 4 items, may begin to be a real threat towards this Rumble that has otherwise been uncontested so far this game. Gala here as well, so alongside Hung, Dragon secured, but there they get a stun onto the wall onto Tarzan, who doesn't get over the wall, gets knocked up. There's a steadfast presence afterwards. Equalizer does a lot of damage to Tarzan, he may be forced to flash, still has the Void Assault. True Shot Barrage flashed away from.
Close run stuff going by the very edge of his seat there, Tarzan. Now with Tarzan with no flash being chunked out, that's the Baron start. One mistake in the side lane play from Weibo. That should be the Baron going with it.
Light is here. They might be able to get back with the Hex Gates, though. Still going down to about half HP. That will still be the Baron. There's no way back in this one. Big Glacial Prison is now secured. Is there a fight after? Xiao, who's behind? They want this. It's very deep, though, from the Tristana. Mega Inferno Bond lands onto a few, but the Locket Shield is solid. Breathe being chunked out is tankier than he was before, but the rest of Weibo are not returning fire till quite yet. Tarzan gets across the Hex Gate. The damage on LNG is beginning to rack up. Magnusaur from Chris gets a couple. Flash for the charge into the wall, despite the Magnusaur being there as Weiwei stays alive. They lose 2, and Weibo Gaming cannot end up in the same space at the same time. Zucker does so much damage, goes golden. Big Buster shot away. True Shot Barrage is back. A triple kill to Gala. Makes it a quadra kill for Gala. He is the master of them. He's counting a lot more than the rest of us know. Make it Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pentakill for Gala.
The Prince of Pentas, Gala, brings it out at the end of Game 1 versus Weibo. Pentakill to the Ezreal, Nexus to LNG.
And it looked like a contest that Weibo might be wanting to take, and somehow, some way, they still say no. Of course it's Gala with a pentakill to end it all.
It was a game of smoke and mirrors, but once that smoke clears, it really was LNG in control of that game ever since that poorly timed Hexgate from Tarzan. Tarzan, who has been the hero of LNG, of Weibo rather, for the grand majority of the last run of games, is the architect of their demise in that one. And folks, welcome back. That was what I wanted to see out of these 2 games in a lot of ways. I wanted to see an even contest with some hero plays being made, and we definitely got that. I'm Nymaera, also known as Alex. This is Initialise, also known as Sam. We are brothers. We cast together, and on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, when there is no official English broadcast, we are here every single day, every single game to bring you a more formal type of broadcast for these teams, so you can start again following along with these players, these teams, and this whole region, and get to enjoy games like that. If you've been enjoying it, drop a follow to Sam. He's in the stream title as well. And keep us on your radar for when you want to come watch LPL stuff. Yep. That was a game which I really enjoyed in a lot of ways. I think that, you know, it's kind of sad that it comes down to that Tarzan Hexgate. That's where kind of like the watershed moment happened. Yeah. But the fact that it was all about this side lane play, trading turrets for turrets, that was entertaining to me because that falls into the wheelhouse of LNG as a team, but also Xiao, who is a player as well, managed to get really good value